Part 3 of my traumatic birth. It was 8:05. The anesthesiologist came in to give me my epidural, and I felt very confident because he was explaining in depth about everything he was doing and the process of it all. Unfortunately, I didn't get the greatest outcome after having the epidural. At 8:30, I was supposed to get my second round of meso. I think the nurses ended up giving me Pitocin because of the following events that I'm about to explain. At 9:50, the nurses came in to put in my catheter. My water ended up breaking partially. And at 10:20, this is when things really started to go downhill. I was not feeling good at all. They had to call one of the anesthesiologist's assistants to come and drop down the amount of units I was getting. So I went from 9 to 8. I've never felt this way with an epidural or with anesthesia. I was laying down and that felt like that was numbing my whole body, but I sat up and that made me feel much better. And at 10:30, my doctor came in and she broke the rest of my water, and I ended up being at 5 to 6 centimeters. 11 o'clock hit, and this is when things really, really got bad. I felt really numb and cold, and my body was tingling. I was numb from my toes all the way to my head, to the point where I couldn't even talk, and I didn't even realize it in the moment. And my husband's like, "You need to talk to the nurses. They're asking you questions." And I came to my senses and I was like, I'm so numb. My tongue is numb and I can't even talk. After my body adjusted, once the epidural units were dropped, I started to feel a little bit better and I was starting to able to communicate more. But my body was not responding well at all. My blood pressure dropped down to 100 and it dropped multiple times. So the nurses had to give me an IV so my blood pressure could go back up. Because of this, my baby's heart rate wasn't able to be found with the monitor that was on me. I started freaking out a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. The nurse was moving the monitor all over my belly. I was getting really worried when she called for help and a bunch of nurses rushed in. Another nurse tried to look for the heart rate. She couldn't find it. At this point, they said that I had to get on all fours.